Hey, what's up, everyone? Just wanted to make a quick video. And give an update on some of the health stuff that I've got going on. I know I've talked to a good amount of people, and some people kind of already know. Um, but yeah, so 2 weeks ago, I was supposed to have surgery on my colon. Um, I've most people know I've dealt with ulcerative colitis since I was 19 years old. And just have never really gotten to remission. And so last year had a colonoscopy. There was some not great stuff they saw there. Made the decision that it would be safest for me to have a total colectomy, which would be removing the colon, and that would ultimately remove the chance of me getting colon cancer. So went in for surgery, or had planned to have surgery Monday the 18th. Ended up going in a few days early because I was in some severe pain, right in my stomach area. I had been taking Wegovy the last few months to lose weight to prepare for the surgery. So we had, honestly, I'd been in pain for a few months now, but had kind of chalked it up to side effects from Wegovy. You can get constipation, backing up, all that. But it got to a point the Wednesday before the surgery on Monday that the pain was just unbearable. I ate lunch Wednesday, started feeling like crap, didn't eat dinner, um, didn't eat breakfast the next morning, didn't eat lunch the next day, and still felt terrible. It'd been 24 hours since I'd eaten anything, and my stomach is still killing me. So we message the doctor. He tells us to come in, get a CT scan, make sure that we know what we're going into on Monday for surgery. So I get the CT scan on Wednesday night. They see three spots on my liver that at the time they thought were abscesses, which would have been like an infection. But then Friday they went in, did a biopsy to, find out exactly what it was, figure out if it is an infection, what kind of antibiotics I'm going to need, all that. Learned pretty quickly that it was not an infection. They did the biopsy. There was no pus or anything. It was just kind of like a hard white mass. And, me being ignorant to any other thing that it could be, my first thought was, that could be cancer. But I don't know anything either. So it was just more like, of the things I knew it could be, that could be it. So at the time they thought it was an infection, they thought they were going to push the surgery. And I guess real quick, giving all this backstory just to give the full scope of what happened and why I'm like optimistic about where I'm at right now. So they actually thought they were going to push off the surgery on Monday. Fortunately, my doctor came in on Saturday while I was still in the hospital, said, whatever this is, it doesn't look like it's an infection. So we're going to go in, move forward with the surgery, because whatever this is, it's tied to your colon. We kind of know everything that you have going on stems from the UC. I've had my gallbladder removed. I've got some other thing with bile ducts. Like it's all stemmed back to the UC. So make the decision. We're going to move forward with surgery. So they go in on Monday. Gave me an ileostomy, which is like the bag out the side of the stomach. That was the original plan, was to do that, then remove the colon, and then follow-up surgery would be reconnecting everything internally without the colon, just kind of cut the middleman out. But they go in, they do the ileostomy, they go to look inside the colon, and they saw a tumor there. And so at that point, the doctor's like, what the hell's going on? I had a CT scan on Thursday that didn't show this. We saw the 3 spots on the liver, but the main tumor in the colon was just not showing up. So, again, giving all the backstory to say that, like, had my doctors not made the decision to move forward with the surgery on Monday, we may have been finding this tumor weeks later, because they were going to wait until the infection came down and all that. So lucky in a way that they found it. They were able to determine through pathology later in the week that the 3 spots on my liver are also colorectal cancer. So looks like it started in the colon and then metastasized to the liver. So one thing that I've kind of learned through all of this is it's not like I now have colon and liver cancer. It is colorectal cancer that had spread from the colon to the liver. So um, then we start meeting with oncology and talking about, future plan. The nice thing about it being all colorectal is it should respond to the same type of chemo. It's not like I need 2 different types. There's like a three ingredient combination, 3 medication combination that's pretty standard for colorectal cancer that I'm going to start probably in 2 weeks. Initially we thought it might be a month because I still did have surgery and can't even get a PET scan until I'm fully healed from that. So that's kind of been my priority is, healing up from the surgery, which actually like went great. The ostomy is working great. All my incisions are healing well. Moving around, feeling good otherwise. So as far as like they told me I was going to be potentially in the hospital anywhere from 3 to 10 days. Surgery was on Monday. I got out Wednesday. So like healing really, really quickly from the surgery itself. It's just unfortunate that, obviously there was some other stuff going on in there. But yeah, so we've got, I'm getting the port for chemo put in. I guess they're going to put something right in my chest tomorrow, Monday. And then Tuesday, have a follow up with the surgeon to confirm that everything looks good from the surgery itself. And if all goes well there, I will probably start chemo the week after. So initially, when we were in the hospital, we were thinking, mid to late June starting chemo, and we've now moved that timeline up a couple weeks. So obviously, that's a good thing. Starting chemo as quickly as possible. It is considered stage 4, just because it has spread from the colon to the liver. So that's really all. At least my understanding is that's all stage 4 is it's spread to another organ. But my mindset right now is, if the chemo is going to work on the tumor in the colon, then it's also going to work on the 3 spots on the liver. So it's almost like inconsequential. If the chemo works, it's going to work on everything. It's not a targeted therapy. They're going to do an infusion. It's going to hit everywhere. So, obviously it's not great, hearing stage 4 colon cancer, but, again, it's a treatment that's going to hit everything. And one thing too is, I'm younger. I'm 35 years old. Most people that get colon cancer, like normal people don't start getting colonoscopies until they're like in their 40s. So most people that have colon cancer are older. They're less receptive to chemo. And so, we're optimistic that like, yeah, this sucks, but I'm going to be a really good candidate to respond well to chemo. And either way, they're still going to have to go back in and do another surgery because the colon is still in there. They couldn't take it out because they couldn't guarantee that they could get all the cancer. And so really thankful, to my surgeon, my doctors, because one, like I said, they almost pushed the surgery. So we wouldn't have found that tumor right away. I mean, we would have known about the liver. But the bigger concern is the tumor in the colon. That's the where this all started. So lucky there, and then lucky that my surgeon was smart enough to not take the colon because, like I said, I can't really start chemo, do a PET scan, all the things related to treating the cancer until I'm like healed from surgery. And had they gone in and done more, take out the colon, do other internal cuts and things like that, that would have just prolonged the recovery, and I would have not been able to start chemo as soon as I'm going to be able to. So, as crappy as the situation as it is, like, I'm pretty confident of the plan that we've got. Like I said, again, younger, should respond well to chemo. Apparently, Jefferson is like one of the top oncology hospitals in the country. We're looking into some other resources as well. I'm fortunate enough to have some friends and family that have connections at UPenn, at Sloan Kettering, and some other major hospitals, around the country, especially the Northeast, Penn and Philly, obviously, and Sloan Kettering in New York, um, that are doing some, other treatments specific to people under 40 with cancers. It's something that's come out more, and so some hospitals are starting to do specific treatment plans, more aggressive treatment plans for people under 40. So looking into those things too. But like I said, I feel confident in the plan that we have. It's just honestly a little more annoying than anything. I had um, up last year was July when I found out that we were getting this out, and that was a shock at the time, getting my colon out. But I got diagnosed UC when I was 19 years old, and at that time they said this probably increases your chances of colon cancer in your lifetime by like 50% plus. So that's been in the back of my mind for the last 15, 16 years that this could happen. And so, obviously didn't want to have my colon removed, but again, the thought process behind that was colon's out, you can't have colon cancer. Like, it can't have it if the organ's not there. So, just a little frustrating that got to this point and it was already there. But, again, I'm feeling pretty good about, all things considered, feeling pretty good about the plan we've got. And yeah, wanted to make a video because toughest part for me has been telling people, breaking the news to people that this is what happened. I know that I'm handling it pretty well, but other people don't know that. And obviously, anytime you hear colon cancer or just cancer in general, like that's scary. So I'm very thankful. I've had a bunch of friends and family that were able to help kind of spread the news to quite a few people. But I know that I have a lot of friends, a lot of people in my in my life, in my network, whatever you want to call it, that care about me, and so really just want to let everyone know that like I'm doing okay. Appreciate all the well wishes, and people who want to reach out to me, like more than welcome to. All the good vibes are great, Um, yeah, and I'll probably continue to make videos like this. I think that that's again probably the easiest way to keep people updated, and who knows? I know a lot of people. I've talked to a bunch of people who know somebody who's going through treatment, or know somebody who's gone through treatment for cancer, and it seems more and more like a lot of people under 40, and not even under 40, but just like younger and younger people are getting diagnosed with things. And so, if me making videos can help other people, feel better about my situation, feel better about another family member's situation, feel better about their own situation, whatever it may be, like, I think anybody who knows me knows I'm a pretty positive person. So, and I get joy from helping people. So again, like, who knows what'll come of these videos, but if other people see them and, again, reach out to me, or feel better about, like I said, something else going on in their lives, I think that's a positive thing. So, this is hopefully the first of many, and not too many, because chemo cycle is only 12 weeks. So best case scenario, we go in, do one cycle, they go back in, do a surgery, and, in a couple months, this is all behind me. So, One other thing, and if you stuck around this long, appreciate it. A lot of people know I got back during COVID. Um, my best friend John had cancer, and obviously COVID was a mess itself. So at that time, I kind of got back into opening baseball cards, opening Pokemon cards, like nostalgic things that I did when I was, in the 90s, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. And so I've continued to do that just because the nostalgia, makes me feel good and happy. And so I said I may start, like, as part of these videos, opening some packs just to keep things light. Obviously, this is not a fun thing to talk about, but if I can make something fun out of it, then again can be positive for somebody else. And so I do have a case or a box of the new set. That I'll open just for fun here. And if anyone wants to stick around and watch me light some money on fire, we'll see what we get. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else to update on. Like I said, getting the port on Monday, and then follow up Tuesday with the surgeon. The one other thing I did forget to mention. So there's the spot on the let's see what we got here. Spot on the I'm looking the wrong way. Colon and liver, and then there is some spotting around the the stomach lining of right next to where the main tumor is. So it's all pretty isolated to that that lower left quadrant or lower right quadrant of my stomach. And so again, like, even though it's spread, it should all respond to the same chemo. It's all isolated, kind of consolidated at the same area. Oh, and I did, so fortunately it was cool. I didn't have to get, again, like I said, we might still get some other opinions, second opinions, things like that. But I was fortunate enough, one of my buddies has a childhood friend that is now an oncologist at Penn. So I was able to talk to him prior to even going into my oncology appointment with the doctors at Jefferson. And, talking with him, I gave him the whole background, whole story, everything. Ooh, nice. It's a really nice card. So gave him the whole backstory of, my history with UC and all that, everything's going on, and without even telling him what the plan that the Jefferson doctors had outlined, he had also already, like, he went in and kind of said, yeah, they're probably gonna start on chemo here in a couple weeks once everything heals, and then potentially do surgery after that. So it was kind of cool that he kind of validated the whole plan that Jefferson Oncology people had already outlined without even knowing that plan. So, again, it makes me feel good about the the situation that we're in, and like the plan that we have in place. The other cool thing was, I mentioned, yeah, I'm going to meet with Dr. Cohen on Tuesday. He goes, oh, Stephen Cohen? I said, yeah, how'd you know? Apparently this guy mentored under him, and was like, oh yeah, he's like top 5 in the country at this stuff. So like, really, really small world, kind of everything happens for a reason type thing. And yeah, just really reassuring talking with him about everything that's going on, because again, like, he validated, the whole situation without knowing what Jefferson had said. And then, the other thing, I mentioned, like, obviously I'm younger, and I had been saying that from the beginning, like, I'm younger, and I should respond better to chemo and all that. But I don't know anything. I'm talking on my ass when I say those things. So, for him to now, say that same exact thing and kind of validate my own thoughts about it, again, made me feel like really comfortable about where we're at, the plan that we've got in place, and um, you know, we'll obviously see what happens, but again, should hopefully be one round of chemo. They did say if the cancer is responding really well, that nice. They could um, just do a second round and blast it, even more. Um, but my hope is that it's 12 weeks, 6 treatments. Yeah, so it's every other week. Chemo treatment, go in for a few hours. So it should only be like 6 treatments. And they said too, chemo for colorectal cancer is relatively mild compared to um, other cancers. So I should be able to, after a day or so after each, I might feel it after you know day after treatment, things like that. But it shouldn't like completely knock me out for weeks on end. I should be able to, um, still be active. I am looking forward to getting back to golfing. When I knew surgery was going to be in May. I was like, man, this sucks because it's going to completely ruin my summer. But with how quickly I'm healing from the surgery, I honestly feel like I could, go golfing here in a couple weeks. And they said, being active and getting outside, getting sunlight, all that stuff is all good, So, hopefully I can do a chemo treatment and then be golfing a couple days later, and really shouldn't have too like serious side effects from the chemo. Obviously, we'll see. Everybody's different, but nice. Um, but yeah, that's all I've really got right now. I'll probably make another video here the next day or two, follow up from getting the port in, and and then my follow up with the surgeon. Give an update there. But again, people, friends, family, whoever, you feel free to reach out. I'm not, like I said, and you can kind of tell, I'm pretty optimistic about everything going on. I'm okay talking about things, and again, that's kind of why I wanted to make the videos. Is it's a little, it's hard to understand or see like how somebody's dealing with something through a text message, through a Facebook post, and in talking to people the last week and a half, 2 weeks, people have said, I feel a lot better after talking to you. So I know a lot of people care about me, and I just want to let everyone know that, I'm doing okay. It's scary, but we're going to get through it. We're going to beat it. And, yeah, again, if anybody can help anybody with these videos too, that's awesome. We'll see what happens. But, if you guys stayed this long, appreciate you. Love you guys. And, hopefully I'll talk to everybody soon.